Try Me, Divergent by Veronica Roth. Chapter 1. There is one mirror in my house. It is behind a sliding panel in the hallway upstairs. Our faction allows me to stand in front of it on the second day of every third month, the day my mother cuts my hair. I sit on the stool and my mother stands behind me with the scissors trimming. The strands fall onto the floor in a dull blonde ring. When she finishes, she pulls my hair away from my face and twists it into a knot. I note how calm she looks and how focused she is. She's well practiced in the art of losing herself. I can't say the same of myself. I sneak a look at my reflection when she isn't paying attention. Not for the sake of vanity, but out of curiosity. A lot can happen to a person's appearance in 3 months. In my reflection, I see a narrow face, wide, round eyes, and a long, thin nose. I still look like a little girl, though sometime in the last few months I turned 16. The other factions celebrate birthdays, but we don't. It would be self-indulgent. There, she says when she pins the knot in place. Her eyes catch mine in the mirror. It's too late to look away, but instead of scolding me, she smiles at our reflection. I frown a little. Why doesn't she reprimand me for staring at myself? So today's the day, she says. Yes, I reply. Are you nervous? I stare into my own eyes for a moment. Today is the day of the aptitude test that will show me which of the 5 factions I belong in. And tomorrow, at the choosing ceremony, I will decide on a faction. I will decide the rest of my life. I will decide to stay with my family or abandon them. No, I say. The tests don't have to change our choices. Right, she smiles. Let's go for breakfast. Thank you for cutting my hair. She kisses my cheek and slides the panel over the mirror. I think my mother could be beautiful in a different world. Her body is thin beneath the grey robe. She has high cheekbones and long eyelashes, and when she lets her hair down at night it hangs in waves over her shoulder. But she must hide that beauty in abnegation. We walk together to the kitchen. On these mornings when my brother makes breakfast and my father's hand skims my hair as he reads the newspaper and my mother hums as she clears the table, it's on these mornings that I feel the guiltiest for wanting to leave them. The bus stinks of exhaust. Every time it hits a patch of uneven pavement, it jostles me from side to side, even though I'm gripping the seat to keep myself still. My older brother Caleb stands in the aisle, holding a railing above his head to keep himself steady. We don't look alike. He has my father's dark hair and hooked nose, and my mother's green eyes and dimpled cheeks. When he was younger, that collection of features looked strange, but now it suits him. If he wasn't abnegation, I'm sure the girls at school would stare at him. He also inherited my mother's talent for selflessness. He gave his seat to a surly Canada man on the bus without a second thought. The Canada man wears a black suit and a white tie. Canada's standard uniform. Their faction values honesty and sees truth as black and white, so that is what they wear. The gaps between the buildings narrow, and the roads are smoother as we near the heart of the city. The building that was once called the Sears Tower, we call it the Hub, emerges from the fog, a black pillar in the skyline. The bus passes under elevated tracks. I've never been on a train, though they never stop running and there are tracks everywhere. Only the dauntless ride them. 5 years ago, a volunteer construction worker from abnegation repaved some of the roads. They started in the middle of the city and worked their way outwards until they ran out of materials. The roads where I live are still cracked and patchy, and it's not safe to drive on them. We don't have a car anyway. Caleb's expression is placid as the bus sways and jolts on the road. The grey robe falls from his arms as he clutches at the pole for balance. I can tell by the constant shift of his eyes that he's watching the people around us, striving to see only them and forget himself. Canada values honesty, but our faction, abnegation, values selflessness. The bus stops in front of the school and I get up, scooting past the Canada man. I grab Caleb's arms as I stumble over the man's shoes. The upper levels building is the oldest of the 3 schools in the city. Lower levels, mid-levels and upper levels. Like all the other buildings around it, it is made of glass and steel. In front of it is a large metal sculpture that the dauntless climb after school, daring each other to go higher and higher. Last year I watched one of them fall and break her leg. I was the one who ran to get the nurse. Aptitude test today, I say. Caleb is not quite a year older than I am, so we're in the same year at school. He nods as we pass through the front doors. My muscles tighten the second we walk in. The atmosphere feels hungry, like every 16-year-old is trying to devour as much as he can of his last day. It's likely that we will not walk these halls again after the choosing ceremony. Once we finish, our new factions will be responsible for finishing our education. Our classes are cut in half today, so we will attend all of them before the aptitude tests, which take place after lunch. My heart rate is already elevated. You aren't worried about what they'll tell you, I ask Caleb. We pause at the split in the hallway where he will go one way towards advanced math and I will go the other towards faction history. He raises an eyebrow at me. Are you? I could tell him that I've been worried for weeks about what the aptitude test will tell me. Abnegation, candour, erudite, amity or dauntless. Instead I smile and say, not really. He smiles back. Well, have a good day. I walk towards faction history, chewing on my lower lip. He never answered my question.